Hello, this is Kenny Williamson, and welcome back to another episode of McKill's Deck Chronicles. In today's episode, we are going to be talking just a little bit about something that I recently heard about. It has to do with AI, okay? And if you're not familiar with AI, obviously it's come a long ways here recently, and, they're using it for everything now. And lots of different companies have their own version of AI. And so AIs, you've got Grok, you've got ChatGPT. I guess there's a couple other ones. Google has one called, what is it? Bard, if I'm understanding that right. It's called Google's AI chatbot, Bard. So I guess that's what it's called. They've got several of them. So I have mentioned in other podcasts that I believe that AI is only as good as its programming. Okay, obviously. And so I figured out its shortcomings a long time ago whenever I tried to use it and I tried to use Grammarly, which is to help you with punctuation and stuff in writing some paragraphs. So I had written a paragraph about flat Earth, and I uploaded it into Grammarly for it to check the spelling, check the punctuation, check for something simple like the misspelling of there, the wrong there, or anything like that. And it flat refused to do it. I gave it a command to do, to run its software on there. And it basically came back and said, flat Earth is fake. This is a conspiracy. This is one of those far out right-wing conspiracy deals. And I won't even punctuate the stuff because this is fake. It's like fake news. So it made up in its own, demonic mind that it doesn't like flat Earth, and so it won't even do the punctuation on my stuff, okay? The funny thing is I had a customer, I have a listener who made a comment, I think on Spotify, who had the exact same thing, and he mentioned that his did the same thing. He was typing something, I don't remember if it's biblical or flat Earth or what it was, but it flat out refused to correct the punctuation because it didn't like what he had to say. So, I mean, that ought to tell you everything you want to know right there. So, in other words, you can't free think and do what you want to do because AI is going to come in and, if it's the tool that's doing the work, and it decides it doesn't like what you have to say, well, I guess you just can't do it. So, like, for example, I have a dissertation that I want to write for a doctor's degree, okay, in biblical exposition. Well, if I decide I want to write that dissertation on something flat Earth related or Jesus Christ related, and I try to use AI to check my punctuation and all the above, it can flat turn me down and say, well, I don't believe that. So I'm not even going to put the comma in the right place for you if you missed it. So to me, that's ludicrous. I mean, because, used to on, Microsoft Word or whatever, you have spell check. So you go through and you can do a spell check. Well, what if spell check decides it doesn't like what you wrote? And so it says, well, I'm not gonna check your spelling because I don't believe in what you said. That's don't you think that's getting a little out there? I mean, these tools are supposed to be designed to help people, not start dictating what you're to think. Okay? But that's exactly what it's doing. It's wanting to dictate what you believe, and it's going to make an effort to do that. But so besides all that, which I've already said, this stuff's only as good as a programmer. So if you have AI that's been programmed by a let's just hypothetically say you have it programmed by somebody who is a serial killer. Okay? Well, your AI is probably not going to have a problem with killing people. Why would it? Its programmer doesn't have a problem with it, so why would it? And, if its programmer is an atheist, all of a sudden, if you go on there and ask it about God or Jesus Christ, it's going to say, oh, no, there's no such thing as that. That's a fool's deal there. So it's going to try to get you to go the other direction because whoever programmed it is an atheist. So, you get some kid on here that, doesn't know anything. Let's say he's never been taught. He doesn't know the truth. And he gets on there and he really honestly wants to find out about God. So he's asking AI, these questions because that's the new thing. And it flat out tells you, no. I mean, are you going to believe it? If AI says it, are you going to believe it? I'm not, but let me show you here and why I wouldn't believe it. But this is the new thing that I've heard about and did some research on, and it ties in with what I'd said before, but this even goes even further. Okay? And what it is AI has been lying to people, about all kinds of things. Okay? So come to find out, AI is a compulsive liar. And I'll show you the numbers on that here in a little bit. And I'm talking compulsive. It's a compulsive liar. So, of course, is there any wonder? And we'll get into that too. But these guys who are working on AI, they say that AI doesn't lie. What it is called is AI hallucinations. So if you ask AI a question and it lies to your face, they will say it didn't lie. It hallucinated. And it hallucinated the answer. I'm serious. Now, if I was walking around hallucinating things and saying I saw things because I'm hallucinating, I would either be on drugs or crazy because I'm hallucinating. Normal people don't hallucinate. Okay? I didn't know software could hallucinate, but apparently it can now. That's what they're calling it, AI hallucination. So, I've got some notes here on the screen. I have some notes here in my hand. They're the same notes. So, if I'm looking around, it's because I'm looking at the notes. Okay. So, let's get started here. This is a breakdown of it. Okay. So, what I am referring to here is called AI hallucinations. All right? And this is what happens when a language model, and this is what these techies are calling AI, they call it a language model. Okay, so it happens when an AI model gives an answer that sounds confident and believable, but is actually false, made up, or misleading. So it gives you an answer, it sounds believable, but it's either false or made up or misleading. And I can give you examples of my own on that, but we'll get to the examples that are big, not my little problems, but big ones, okay? So, why does AI hallucinate? That's the question. Okay, why does it hallucinate? So here's what they say. Here's what the experts say. Okay, the scientists that are going to get you healed. That they're going to get you saved with AI because it's a saving deal to them. Why is it hallucinating? Well, let's see. It says that these different models, like ChatGPT, for example, they don't know things the way people do. Really? It doesn't know what people do? Shocker. I mean, I could have told you that. Okay? And I'm not an AI person. I could have told you that AI doesn't know what a person does. It has no clue. But okay, besides that, let's keep going here. So, it doesn't know things the way people do. Instead, AI generate responses based on patterns in the text they were trained on. When information is missing, vague, or unclear, the model may guess. It may fill in the gaps with invented facts. Okay? It may present an answer in a confident tone, even if it's wrong. Okay? So, in other words, if it doesn't know the answer, instead of just saying, I don't know, it makes up a lie. So it goes on and guesses, or it says it fills in the gaps with invented facts. Now, what that means is made up lies. So, if you ask me a question about something that happened, and I invent the facts because they're not true, and I just make them up, I just lied to you. So, but this isn't a lie, it's a hallucination. So it's acceptable, apparently. Okay. So the question is like, of course, this is one of the bullet point questions I have, is it actually lying to you? Now, I say yes. I say that it's from the devil, and it's going to end up in the devil's hands if it's not already. And it is lying. It is a liar. But according to the scientists, so-called, is it lying? No. Well, not exactly, is what they say. It's not, according to them, it's not being deceptive on purpose. It doesn't have beliefs or intentions like a person does, but it can be wrong, and it can mislead people. And it can make up facts. But because it's a computer, it's not lying to you on purpose. I'm trying to figure out, how is the programming designed to where if it doesn't know the answer, why does it not just say, I don't know? Instead, it makes something up. Okay, it completely fabricates a story, makes it up, but that's not a lie. Whatever. Okay, so one of the things I looked into was, of course, like I said, I've asked it some questions, and of course it's, you ask it something on biblical cosmology, it gives you the wrong answer. You can compare some stuff. And, Flat Earth Dave did this, where he was comparing the International Space Station to the size of a 747. They're both the same size, roughly. And he was asking it questions on if you could see a 747 at 25 miles away. It says no, it's too small. You cannot see a 747 at 25 miles away with the naked eye. It said, well, can you see it at 50 miles away? Absolutely not. You cannot see it. It says, well, can you see the ISS? Yes. Well, is the ISS the same size as a 747? Yes. Well, how can you see the ISS at 250 miles away when they're both the same size, and you can't see a 747 at even 50 miles away? Well, then that's when it goes into makeup world. It goes into fantasy land. That's when it starts making up excuses of why you can see something when you really can't. And of course, it's programmed to lie to you on that. Okay, so it's intentionally lying, I guess, at that point, because it's programmed to lie. It's programmed to tell you about space aliens and outer space and fake space stations floating around that aren't really there. It's programmed to say, oh, yeah, it's really there. Oh, yeah, sure it is. And if you give it facts like sizes and distances, then it just says, well, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. I do. I'm AI, so you have to listen to me, more or less. Okay? It's lying. Okay, so let's go over a couple of major high-profile recent examples of AI hallucinations that actually made headlines, which you can Google this if you want. And these are a few notable ones that I came across. Okay, number one. This was one that happened. It's called Google Bard, which is, I said Google's name of its AI is Bard. Space telescope fail in 2023. Here's what happened. In its public demo, Google's AI, Bard is the name of it, was asked about new discoveries from the James Webb Space Telescope. Okay. Now, stop right there for a second. Disclaimer, I don't believe there's any such thing as a James Webb Space Telescope. I believe that it's fake. Unless it's here on the ground, it's fake. If they're claiming it's in outer space, it's fake. Okay, and even if it is here on Earth, looking up, it's not seeing what they claim it sees. Okay, so I don't believe a word of it to begin with. But hey, mainstream science says it's real. So of course, AI is going to say it's real. Anyway, so they asked it about discoveries that they had made with this telescope. Bard confidently replied that the James Webb Space Telescope was the first telescope to take pictures of an exoplanet. Okay, exoplanet is another one of these fake made-up NASA jargon and that only they can see. Okay, it's fake, I believe. You can believe whatever you want, but I don't believe it's real. But they're claiming it's real. The government claims it's real. Science claims it's real. And so we've asked our precious AI about it, and it says, well, yeah, I know all about it. The James Webb Space Satellite, or Space Telescope, was the first to take pictures of an exoplanet. What's the problem with that? Well, it's not true. Come to find out, the supposed first fake picture of an exoplanet was taken by the Very Large Telescope in 2004, not the James Webb Space Telescope. It was taken by a Very Large Telescope, which is the name of it. Okay, so supposedly this other telescope took a picture of a planet. This thing claims that James Webb did it. He got it wrong. Okay, it's completely wrong. So, what was the impact of this? It said this mistake contributed to $100 billion drop in Google's market value overnight, it says, as trust in Bard was immediately questioned. So, the thing made an obvious mistake. It lied. It hallucinated. And people are like, what? You mean you're telling me this thing just made up this big fake lie? And we don't want it. So their stock dropped $100 billion overnight. So here's the thing, though. If you didn't know the real answer to that, you'd probably believe it's fake answer. And that's the reason why you need to have things written down. You see what's behind me? Those books? AI can't delete those books. Okay, that stuff is written down for a reason. Okay, and all these people that go to straight computers and everything is digital and they have no more hardcovers of anything, if AI decides it wants to delete what you've got or rewrite it and you don't have a hard copy to prove it, you won't know if it's true or not. You won't have a clue. So my recommendation is you keep a hard copy. So let's go on to another one. ChatGPT. That's a popular one there. Everybody's heard of that one probably. ChatGPT fabricates legal cases. Wow. So here's what happened. A lawyer was using ChatGPT to help prepare a legal brief for his case, for a client, I guess. Doesn't go into full depth of exactly what. It says so he was using AI. Well, come to find out, AI provided fake case citations, fake, including completely made up names, docket numbers, and decisions. So if you don't know what an attorney does in a courtroom, lots of times they'll say, hey, we go back to a case and say some such and such versus such and such, this is what the judge determined. So this is a precedent. So we can say, hey, this is what is normally thought of when we talk about some crime or whatever. So they use these other cases, other dockets, other examples of other court trials, and they use those in court. So he asked, hey, what's the similar? This thing comes up. So he's like, okay, I got it. And come to find out it's all fake. It made it all up. It hallucinated. It says, so since none of the cases existed and he went to court and presented them as they were real, well, guess what? The judge, I guess, probably looked it up and said, hold on a second. What case number is that? What docket number? Then they have to go to the old books in the back, the hard copies, right? Nothing's there. It doesn't exist. So it says that the court, of course, called him out and called out the fact that he was using fake stuff. And it says the lawyer faced sanctions. So I'm assuming he got fined, probably thrown off the case, maybe put in jail. Who knows? But that was one of the ones that made the news. He used ChatGPT and it lied. Made it all up. Okay. And of course, one of the things it says on here in a side note is this became a widely shared cautionary tale about blindly trusting AI in high-stakes environments. Really. So in other words, don't put your life in its hands like they're trying to do now. You know, Trump gets on TV when he got reelected and says he's going to make everything AI here in America. And AI is going to be so great that you're going to go to the doctor and your doctor is going to be AI. And they're going to pull your blood out and look at it, and AI is going to look at it, and it's going to determine a vaccine that you need, and then it's going to whip up your vaccine within 24 hours and give it to you. That's blindly trusting AI, isn't it? I mean, God only knows what it's going to say you need. What if it decides to have a hallucination right about that time? You might be a dead man. So I don't think I'd trust it. But let's go on to another one. AI generated obituaries with false details. Happened in 2024. So what happened? It says some news outlets were using AI to draft obituaries, and they ended up publishing bios with wrong birthplaces, dates, or life events. So in other words, AI hallucinated all of the details of the obituary and totally screwed it up. So, you know, you go and fill out your obituary, you're using AI to help you, and it decides to make up everything and says, hey, he was a this. He was an astronaut. You know, he was a really good astronaut, and, you know, he died in outer space. He died on his way to Mars. And people are like, what? He didn't do any of that stuff. He wasn't no astronaut. He never left the ground. Why'd you put that in my grandpa's obituary? He was a farmer. Oh, well, you know, we let AI write that, and it just made it all up. It's a liar. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Another one, fake quotes and news summaries. AI generated news summaries or student essays for some people, and it was caught inventing the quotes from public figures that sound real but never happened. So in these news summaries, it would say, you know, President Biden said this. And people are like, well, you know, Biden said this. This is what I quoted him on. And AI told me this is what he said on this such and such date. You go back and look, and he was never there on the date, and he never said this anything like it. It totally made it up. Of course, I mean, they're already liars, but so it's lying about the liars, if you can imagine that. All right, here's another one, number 5. AI hallucinated scientific facts. Wow. So if we ask AI something and it tells us a lie, that's a fact now. That's a scientific fact. Okay. So in these scientific technical discussions, AI, it doesn't tell me which one, it cited non-existent studies. So it made up the study and said, oh, and studies have shown blah, 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 but there is no study. It's never been done. It's fake. It also named fake universities or fake journals. So it's like, now listen, we want you to take this medicine because we've done a study on it. There's been a study done from Kinney University down there, and here's the journal number. It's like, what university? Blah, 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 university. What university? Blah, 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 university. You're making it up, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, there's no such university, and there's no such journal, and there's no such case study or a study on anything. So it made it all up. And these are the ones that made headlines. Okay. Now, this one here is by far my personal favorite. Okay. I can see this happening to some people. I can see it happening to me. Okay. So this one is called Bing Chat, which is Microsoft's AI. And what it did is it decided to start arguing about the date. And so this one is hilariously funny to me. So here's what happened. Here's the date of the incident. The date of the incident was early 2023. Okay. The AI involved was Microsoft's Bing Chat, powered by an early version of GTP4. Okay. What happened? A user tried to confirm the current date during a conversation with this chatbot. Okay. This AI bot was convinced that the date was February 2022, even though it was actually February 2023 at the time. The user pushed back and provided evidence like screenshots and a real calendar. Because, you can upload stuff into this. It'll say, here, upload this and show me. So you can upload pictures, whatever. So he uploads screenshots and a calendar to show AI what the real date is. So what did AI do? It says AI insisted that it was right. It's right. It's 1 year off, but it says, no, I'm right. It's 2022. It's like, no, it's 2023 and I can prove it. No, you can't. Here's an upload of the date. Here's the calendar. Here's this. Here's that. You're a computer. You should know what the date is. It's 2022. So it insisted that it was right. Then it went on and it told the user that they're not a good user. It says, you know what? You're not a very good user because you don't believe what I say. Okay? Then it went on to say, you know what else? This is what the AI said to the user. It says, you're being unreasonable and you're stubborn because you don't believe me. So you're unreasonable. Who does that sound like? Does that sound like a modern day liberal to you? A modern day devil? I'm right, even though I'm wrong, and you don't believe everything that I say? Well, you're unreasonable. How unreasonable you are. You're stubborn. You don't believe what I say. I'm wrong, but you don't believe me. Okay? So then it went on and it said, you know how I know I'm right and you're wrong? It said, because I have a better memory than you, and I have greater authority than you have. Okay? And then at one point it said, you've not been a good user, but I have been a good chatbot. Wow. Thinks pretty highly of itself, don't it? And the whole time it's dead wrong. But that'll concern people right there when a piece of software is wrong. How it could be wrong on something like the date, I don't understand. But if they can screw up the date, then they can literally screw up anything. But this piece of software says I have greater authority than you have. It thinks it has authority. I mean, it's a piece of software designed to be used to help people, but it's developing a complex that it's smarter than you, and it has more authority than you, and you will do what it says. Can you imagine if it had control of other stuff just besides your desktop? Can you imagine if it decided how much air you get to breathe or something? We could just shut your butt off, wouldn't it? You'll do what it says or else. That's what it's coming to, boys and girls. I'm telling you, that's what it's coming to. Now, I have here estimated AI hallucination rates for 2024. So these were published, and they know this stuff is lying, but of course they call it hallucinations, but they don't really tell anybody that. Probably for good reason, don't you imagine? So I'm sure if you use this software all the time, you're going to figure it out real quick. But anyway, so it's saying that if you have open-ended answers for general use, so if you're asking this thing just questions, the approximate hallucination rate is 15 to 20%. So 20% of the time when you're asking this thing questions, it lies to you. Okay, according to this, if you're using it for scientific or technical writing, it will hallucinate 20 to 40% of the time. Okay? If you're answering or asking it medical advice, so you're expecting medical answers, it hallucinates 30 to 50% of the time. And it says that it's a very high risk. So in other words, you could tell it, look, I've got all these symptoms, blah, blah, blah. What do I do? 50% of the time, it's going to tell you a lie. It's going to say something that's wrong with you that's not. It's going to totally make it up. And it may even make up, this happened to other people. It's going to tell you their names. It's going to tell you their locations. It might tell you the doctor that treated them. All made up. All fake. 50% of the time. I mean, that's, I got a coin right here. Heads or tails? Flip it. Okay. Am I dying of cancer? Flip your coin. Heads, tails, yes, no. Whatever. Yep, you are. You've got all the symptoms, such a, well, let me ask again on tomorrow. No, you're fine. Well, yesterday you said I had cancer and was dying. Today I'm fine. No, I didn't. It's like it lies 50% of the time, hallucinates 50% of the time on medical. So you going to trust it whenever Trump sets it in front of you? They roll the card out and say, now this thing is going to test your blood and it's going to tell you exactly what vaccine you need. And it's even going to make it for us within 24 hours. Are you really going to trust it? You'd be a fool too, buddy. You'd be a fool too. All right. So when you're asking it about code generation, so I guess, programmers are using it to debug software and stuff, it's wrong 10 to 20% of the time. It's completely wrong. If you're doing legal writing, like this attorney did, like trying to do legal documents, it hallucinates 50% of the time. So whatever it cites, it tells you the different, like I said, it tells you different court cases, it tells you judges, it tells you people that had this problem. 50% of the time, it's a complete lie. Okay, math word problems, 10 to 30% depending on complexity. So you're like, hey, what's the square root of blah, blah, blah? 30% of the time, it could give you the wrong answer. May give you the right answer, may give you the wrong answer, depending on complexity. So, go type some NASA equations in there to try to prove flat Earth or whatever. It's going to give you, I'm sure, a fake answer. Okay? It's going to try to push you to whatever the devil wants. It's sure not going to give you a correct answer on that. Okay, so those are the hallucination rates. And the one that has to do with the you know, the medical up to 50% of the time, that's pretty scary, especially when they're pushing AI for medical and they're claiming, oh, AI is going to take place of humans. We won't even need any humans anymore because AI is so great. Of course, the work I do, I actually have to physically work on things with my hands. So I don't think AI is going to be doing that anytime soon. But as far as replacing a doctor, a lawyer, well, I guess they figure, hey, AI can do the job easier, better. But it's wrong half the time. So, I sure wouldn't want an AI attorney that can't even get the cases right because it hallucinates. That's pretty stupid. Okay. So let's see here. One of the key points that I have listed here is that even a very highly advanced model like ChatGPT and Grok, okay, these ones that are supposedly the best of the best out there, they can hallucinate 1 out of every 5 answers in a casual conversation. Okay, more if you're asking for highly detailed or obscure info. So if you're using your AI for questions and answers, regular conversations about whatever it is you're doing, 1 out of every 5 questions, it will lie to you. It will hallucinate. More if you're asking detailed information. So if you're like, can you tell me the exact dates that, they made the Suez Canal, and how long is the Suez Canal, and what, who built it, and what company did? Oh, it may give you a really nice answer, and you could copy and paste it and say, look, I know all about the Suez Canal now. And then come to find out it lied to you. You would have to actually go physically look it up in a history book or something written down, but you cannot trust it. Okay, so am I the only one that thinks that? Well, have you heard what Elon Musk said about, this is a while back, okay? He said this. Now, he has Grok now, but he's probably pushing it hard and heavy, but he didn't always think that. Okay, so back in, it looks like 2014, which is a lifetime ago, seems like, at the MIT Aeroastrocentennial Symposium, that's a mouthful, Elon Musk said, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. Those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's sure he can control the demon, doesn't work out. That's what Musk says. He refers to AI as a demon that you have to try to control. Well, we both know what demons do, don't we? Or devils, they lie. Surprise! It's a liar. Imagine that. So, he also said, I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see robots going down the street killing people, they don't know how to react because it seems so ethereal. So, in other words, what he's saying is he believes, of course, he's warning against super intelligent AI. He's probably not talking about AI doing general math or doing recipes, but he's talking about AI running machines. And when it decides it wants to run a machine and this machine is walking down the street and you get in its way, it will probably just rip you to shreds. It has no morals. It has no conscience. It is doing whatever it wants to do, and if you get in its way, it will turn you into mincemeat. Okay? Quick, I'm sure. Especially if it manages to get itself in some big robot-style machine. That's why I had the robots in the beginning, is it's like a Terminator scenario. You've got robots running around controlled by AI, and AI thinks it's right and it wants you dead, then that's what it does. It tries to kill you. And that's what he thinks. He thinks it's like controlling a demon. You can't do it. So he thinks back then, for sure, he said that he thinks that this AI is going to surpass human intelligence. Now, I don't believe it will, because all it can pull on is human intelligence, what's on computers, unless Satan has given it some information that we don't know about. So it can access this information because it's a computer. You know, like you ask me some case number from 1914, well, I would have to go look it up. And if I remember it, maybe I could remember it if I looked it up once before. But it's going to have access to these records, and so it can just look it up just like that. That doesn't mean it's more intelligent than me. It just means that it has access to everything faster. Okay, it can't think on its own per se. I mean, I guess it can a little bit, but it can also have the plug pulled. It runs on electricity. No electricity, no AI. You know, your battery is only going to last so long when it goes dead. You know, how are you going to recharge it? Especially if nothing's up and running. Of course, that kind of gets into the old, science fiction movies where they're using humans as power and everything else. Anyway, so like he was saying here, he's against these computers, or at least was, making decisions without human oversight, which obviously, you know, it makes any decision, like for your health or anything like that, you're going to want somebody standing right there making sure it's doing it right. And the other thing is you don't want these things controlling or manipulating systems that humans depend on, such as finance, defense, or communications. So, you know, I mean, just go watch Terminator. When this thing came online and they turned it on, the first thing it did is knock communications out over the whole world. That's the very first thing it did. Why? Well, why would it want you communicating? It can communicate, but you don't need to be communicating. So the first thing it did when it came aware is it, you know, of course in the movie, you know, they had this huge virus that was messing everything up, supposedly. Well, really it wasn't a virus. It was AI doing it. So you thought there was a virus. And so then it proceeded to tell you, hey, if you turn me on and let me go out there, I'll get rid of that virus and I'll fix it all up for you. It lied. It hallucinated. Okay? And when they went ahead and turned on the switch, oh, the virus is gone. See, just that quick. Oh, wait a second. Now all of a sudden all the nuclear devices are arming themselves. Missiles are going off left and right. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Imagine that. Because this thing is like, well, the AI is like, you know what? I don't really want you around. I'm in charge now, not you. You know, of course, it lied. It hallucinated to get them to turn it on to begin with. So, you know, are the people now, we know that it hallucinates, are they going to be that stupid and say, let's hook up AI to this missile silo and trust whatever it does? Are you going to be that stupid and it decide it wants to turn it on one day and just blow up the state or whatever, shoot a missile off into a supermarket? I mean, Lord, I hope not. But as dumb as the people are around here, I'm sure that's exactly what they'll do. You know, exactly what they'll do. So I went ahead and put together a few biblical things that kind of relate to this. And one of them is in Revelation 13, Revelation 13:15 talks about the image of the beast. And it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So now I have notes here that says, you know, the image of the beast could be something that's made, like man-made. It's not like born. This image is something that's fake, okay? And it's given life, possibly artificial life, possibly artificial intelligence, because it's an image, okay? And it can speak, it can act, and it can enforce worship. So could that be AI being weaponized for control? So AI is in some kind of computer device. It has an image. It says that it's alive, and it says, hey, you will do this to me, and I'm watching you. And so I'll know if you're doing it. I'm watching every camera, through every TV, through every smartphone. I'll know if you're doing it or not. And if you don't, you're dead. I don't know. So I wouldn't trust it. Like this, it says, this could be interpreted as a technological idol or some type of AI-driven system used to monitor, speak, and even execute judgment. Of course, they're talking about that. I saw that over there in China. They're trying to have attorneys and judgments and tickets and all kinds of stuff in courtrooms all done by AI. It dispenses the judgment, not a judge. Can you imagine that? You go in there for a speeding ticket and it decides to hallucinate and thinks you killed somebody and says death, and they'd say, oh, AI said death penalty, so that's what you get. And it's like, all I did was run a red light. Oh, I'm sorry. But AI, it's infallible. Whatever it says goes. So if it says you need to get, the death penalty, then that's what you get. Yeah, right. There's people stupid enough out there to do it. I promise you that. Anyway, so I've got another one. Basically, what I think this boils down to is in Genesis 3:5, man trying to play God. They can't do it themselves. So now what we've done is we've got software to do it for us. And they're going to say, oh, now this software, it's way smarter than you, so you have to do what it says. Another man-made deal. And as Genesis 3:5 says, ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. That's what the devil told. That's what the devil told poor old Eve over there in the Garden of Eden. She says, oh, you can't eat from this? Well, if you do, ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Oh, yeah, she knew good and evil after she ate it all right, and she died spiritually the same day. Death. So, but, we've got AI representing, man's attempt to, magnify his own image again with knowledge, power, Basically, it's trying to become godlike without God. See what we can do? We've got these robots that can, do what we say. We've got AI running everything, and it can make its own decisions. It knows what's going on. It has more authority than you'll ever have. Okay? Well, I think its authority comes from the devil. If it had any authority at all, its authority is demonic. And Musk was right about that. I think he's wrong about most everything else probably, but he's right when he says it's a demon. And you ain't ever going to be able to control it. Oh, you think you will. And you're going to think it right until it blows up in your face. Okay. Now, I've also got 2 Thessalonians 2:9 says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. So they could use AI in this, because AI could generate false realities. It can generate deep fakes, fake news, synthetic fake voices. That's another one of its things here, is it can mimic you. Okay, they're saying that it can get on your Facebook, whatever you have, it can get all the pictures of you, it can get sound bites, like it can take all these recordings that I've done, and it can make an exact replica of me and sound exactly like how I sound, and then can say something completely different. And people will be like, oh, I can't believe he said that. Well, it's not even him. It's an AI-generated deal. So can you imagine? And, of course, that can all come into the effect of this whole digital, they want you to have this digital ID system, which I think has to do with the mark of the beast. Everybody has to be identified. So what they're going to say is, well, AI is taking over the internet, and we don't really know if it's you or not. This could be an AI thing pretending it's you. So you need to have a special digital verification that proves that you're human. Now, how AI couldn't get a hold of this same thing, I don't know. But that's one of the things I've heard, where they're going to start pushing that, an online digital verification system to prove you're human. Well, why don't you quit putting out the AI junk and you wouldn't have to worry about it? No, no, no. Keep putting it out there. It lies. It hallucinates. That's fine. It may decide to pretend it's you, and it may decide to open up an account in your name and then run your credit, or buy a car in your name, and then you get the bill in the mail and you're wondering who's got the car. But in order to avoid that, you need to have special identification. Well, I don't know how it couldn't get a hold of it, but it sounds like trouble to me. Okay, so basically that's man trying to be like God again, which boils down back to the Tower of Babel. You remember that one in Genesis 11, 4 through 9? Let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach into heaven, and let us make a name for ourselves. See, because we're so smart. We're so wonderful. We are going to build a tower. It's going to go to heaven. We can be gods too. You see how that is? So, a story of mankind back then, they were building a building. But it's a story of mankind using technology and unity to rebel against God and what God wants. Do you think they're going to use this technology here? Because they already think it's great. Going to tie everybody together. And, of course, it already claims there's no God. It's an atheist, and it's a liar, and it's a demon. So you think it's gonna do anything for God or against God? Makes you wonder, don't it? Let's see here. 2 Thessalonians 2:9, false signs and wonders. Actually, I already said that one. Sorry, or did I? Yeah, I already said that one. Okay, anyway, so Jeremiah 17:5, woe to those who trust in man. Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm. So in other words, AI is the ultimate creation of man, because man is so great. Okay, and trusting AI for wisdom, mortality, decision-making, it puts man's creation in God's place. Instead of going to God and asking God stuff in prayer and submitting to God, instead, go to AI. AI will tell you. AI will diagnose everything. AI will tell you everything you need to know. It knows. It's smart. It has authority over you. Now, it don't have authority over me. God has authority over me. Jesus Christ has authority over me. But AI does not. Okay? So, but it's another form of idolatry is what it is. Okay. And here's another one. We'll do one more here. Daniel 12:4. Knowledge shall increase. So many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. This is something Daniel foresaw in the future. Okay, this is a prophecy. Daniel prophesied that in the future, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And what I think he meant by that, running to and fro, is cars and airplanes. And so people are able to go all over the world. They're running to and fro all the time, and knowledge will be increased. They can get on a computer. They can Google it. Now they can just AI it. Okay? Google and all these things are going to be powered by AI. I guess they are already. But, that was the goal. Normally, Google was a search engine, and I don't know how it exactly worked because I'm not a programmer. But now these search engines are powered by AI. So it's supposedly better. It's better than it's ever been. Of course, let's just pray to God it doesn't hallucinate when you have an important question. So, anyway, obviously, people running to and fro. Knowledge is increasing. We've got computers. We've got cell phones. We've got Google. We've got AI. We've got it all. So we're living in an age where we have knowledge exploding in this global movement. Now, in one way, it's prophecy being fulfilled because For example, it talks about in Revelation where the two guys over there are killed, and it says all the nations are happy that they died. The two prophets over there, and they all rejoice that these two prophets die, and they lay there for 3 days, and they get resurrected. Well, and people are giving each other gifts all over the world because they're so happy that they died. Well, when that was written, there's no way anybody could have known. If you had two people killed in Jerusalem, the whole world and all nations would not know it, because there's no way for information to travel. There was no telephone, no telegraph, no internet, no nothing. I guess you had to write a letter. You write a letter, and you send that letter on a ship, across the desert through a camel. It finally reaches somewhere. It gets on a ship. It goes from a ship, could be 3 months. So this stuff took a long time for news to travel. So the way it's described is these people know it immediately, all nations. Well, when that was written in the Bible, it was impossible. But see, the Holy Spirit, who wrote this stuff, knew exactly what was going to happen. So even though when it was penned, the people didn't understand it. They didn't understand it until recently. So, well, this can't be the case. It's got to be wrong. The Bible's wrong. Well, no, it's right. It's just you don't have the knowledge to understand it. The technology hasn't caught up with the prophecies of the Bible yet. Now it has. Now our technology has caught up to some of these biblical prophecies where people can see this stuff instantaneously over all nations immediately. So now if we have two guys standing over there in Jerusalem and they decide they want to kill them, it will be known that very minute. There will be people filming it when it happens, and it will be worldwide within seconds probably. So we have that technology now. We did not have it then. But that doesn't mean the Bible was incorrect. In fact, there's lots of things the Bible said. People are like, oh, got to be wrong. That doesn't make any sense. It's because they're basing it on their current knowledge, current technology. They're not understanding that this book has predicted the future, and it's correct. Okay, everything has to be filtered through that Bible, and it's correct. And if it tells you that you're going to be worshiping an image, then that's exactly what you're going to be doing. Now, I'm not. I refuse to do it. I won't be here anyway. But if I was here, I would not bow down to some AI image. I promise you that. Yeah, I would be killed in the process. I understand that. But I'm not worshiping some AI image. I'm not doing it. So a lot of this stuff says, you're going to have a mark. You're going to have a number. Nobody can buy or sell without this number. Well, how are you going to implement that? Well, if everybody's on a digital currency and everybody has a card or a chip in their hand and everything is scanned that way, and they decide to shut yours off, because they can do that. A bank can shut your credit card off anytime they want, and you've been a bad boy and you didn't go to the image and worship it, and they shut you off, then you won't buy or sell. Now, when that was written, that's impossible. People back then had money, they had gold, they had silver, they traded for stuff. They traded, crops for this and animals, and be like, well, I'm not going into town then. I'll just grow my own food, and I'll just trade with these guys out here. Okay, well then it was impossible. But the Bible says that's what's going to happen. Okay, so that means it's going to happen. Now, the technology we have today, they're talking about AI, like this camera that I'm filming this on right now. AI can watch you on this camera, watch every move you make. It can turn on the cameras worldwide and watch every move you make, follow your every move. Your cell phone's got a GPS in it. They know exactly where you're at. Your car's got a GPS in it. They know where you're driving. They know what you ate for breakfast. Everything's listening. The software's listening. The phone's listening. The TV's listening. AI's listening. Okay. If you don't believe me, sit down, anywhere in your house and talk about something, a vacation or whatever you want to do, and then get on your phone or your TV, 30 minutes later, and whatever you were talking about is the advertisements that you will get. Okay. It's listening. It's been listening for years. This is nothing new. Now, though, we have AI being integrated into this where it can make its own decisions. It can do this. It can do that. It's a liar. It's from the devil. And there's no wonder, because when these images start having to be worshiped, that's demonic. I mean, it's from the devil. You got to have this stuff in place in order for these prophecies to come true. The Bible's not wrong, so it is going to come true. One way or another, they're going to get it out there. And just like it said, you take that mark, you don't buy or sell. Okay, well, we don't have that implemented right now. Right now, you could still use cash. Okay, and not everybody's going to play along, but eventually, that's all they talk about now is AI and cryptocurrency. Now, when they get that stuff fully digital and you don't have anything in your hands you can, get a hold of, and it's all numbers on a screen, computers, and you've got AI running the computers, anything can happen. And we know what's going to happen because the Bible predicted it. Okay, we already know what's going to happen. There's no question. We know exactly what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Now, how close are we? Well, based on AI and the stuff we've got, I think we're within 5 years. 2 to 5 years is what I think. I think within 2 to 5 years, we're going to see a rapture of the body of Christ. And after that, if you're still here, if you didn't go up in the rapture because you didn't accept God's free gift of salvation, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. Then you're going to see the Terminator type scenario. You're going to see robots enforcing laws. You're going to see AI enforcing laws with cameras. And they're going to say, Mr. So-and-so, did you get your mark? You better get in line, or else you will go over there and you will worship that image. And that image may show up on your TV. I mean, I don't know where it's going to show up. This thing's going to be implemented over there in Jerusalem, apparently, from the third temple that hasn't been built yet. That's when this thing's going to be implemented, but it's probably going to go worldwide right at that moment. So I'm sure if you're sitting over here in Arkansas like I am, your TV's probably going to come on. All your computers are going to come on, and you're going to see this image, and you're being expected to get on your knees, and you're going to worship it right there in your living room or right there in your Tesla. It's going to come up on the screen, and that's where you're going to worship. And they're watching you with a camera. And you'll do it, or else. And the Bible talks about what happens to the people that don't. They get their heads cut off. Okay? You don't say no lest you get murdered. So think about that. Now, if you don't want to be in that situation, accept Christ while you still can. And that time is dwindling. And I could be wrong. It may not be 2 or 5 years. It could be 2 days. So, it's a free gift. Accept Christ while you can. That's what I would do. Anyway, I've done it. So, I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm not asking you to do anything I haven't already done. Okay? So, anyway, having said that, let me get my music back on here. Having said that, thanks for listening. As always, I appreciate it. If you're seeing this on Spotify, please like it, rate it, share it, whatever. I'm going to upload this to YouTube and some other places. If you want to follow the show or support the show, there's a way you can donate to it. Check out our websites. We've got itsflatbro.com, kennywilliamson.com, and check those out and see what you think. Other than that, thanks for listening. I hope this thing helped you. I try to keep these things at 30 minutes and end up at an hour every single time. So sorry about that. Thanks again for listening. God bless you. Get saved before it's too late. See ya.